All right, so for those who are watching the archive show, I'm doing a recording right now on explaining 16th notes and 32nd notes, and I had a question from one of my viewers just now that says, hey, well, you count 16th notes, 1 eanda, 2 eanda, 3 eanda, 4 eanda. How do you count 32nd notes? By the way, what's up, Cattle Blazing? Okay, so here is a recording of all that. So let me go about writing it out. All right. So here, let me write this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Here's your piece of music. Let me move this up, and then let's write out a bunch of 16th notes. Here's how I count it. Is that I really do live by the concept of like keep it simple, stupid. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's your quarter notes. The way that you count quarter notes, well, here's eighth notes. You would count them 1 and 2 and. Quarter notes, you count them 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, if I were to make these eighth notes, you're now counting it like this. 1 and 2 and. Okay. But now, what if I were to have 16th notes? Well, the way that you would count them would be, let me make this a 16th note and these 16th notes. You would count them 1 E and 2 E and okay? And I'm going to break this all down in a minute, but just let me go ahead and continue explaining this. So now what if I were to make these 32nd notes, right? The way you would count them, or at least the way that I would count them, would be the same. 1 E and 2 E and okay? But now, if I were to take my metronome, if I can find my metronome, because I do have a metronome around here somewhere. Here we go. If I were to take this metronome, okay, can you hear that? If I were to take that metronome and go chord notes, actually let me make it slower. Let me make it like 88. Okay. So if I were to make them quarter notes, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I were to count them as eighth notes, it would be 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If I were to make them 16th notes, it would be 1 eanda, 2 eanda, 3 eanda, 4 eanda, 1 eanda, 2 eanda, 3 eanda, 4 eanda. Now, I count 32nd notes, and this is just the way that I do it, and I know other people that do it like this too, is that if I were to count them as 16th notes, or if I were to count them as 32nd notes, I still count them as 16th notes, but I count them twice as fast. So for 16th notes, I go 1 eanda, 2 eanda, 3 eanda, 4 eanda. For 32nd notes, I go 1 eanda, 2 eanda, 3 eanda, 4 eanda, 1 eanda, 2 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 eanda. Okay, so that's how I do it. Is that really all you're doing is that you're counting it twice as fast, and that when you first start counting it, you're going to not be able to sing it as fast. But you get really good at 1 eanda, 2 eanda, 3 eanda, 4 eanda, 1 eanda, 2 eanda, 3 eanda, 4 eanda. So you're literally playing 16th notes. Like, here's how it works out, is that this is actually your eighth note. Here's your eighth note right here. Okay? That's the ugliest looking eighth note I've probably ever seen in my life. Let me change this. There we go. All right, that's the second ugliest eighth note I've ever seen in my life. But, okay, so here's your eighth note. Here's 1 and. All I'm doing is that here's my upbeat, okay? And on the downbeat, I'm going 1 eanda, and then on the upbeat, I'm hitting it 1 eanda again. So I'm going 1 eanda, 2 eanda. So here's your beat. Let me do it really slow, divide it, and then I'm going to go back and explain these beats a little bit better. So let me make this slower. Let me go down to like 75 or something. Okay. So here's your beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 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 and. Those are 32nd notes. If I wanted to do it as 16th notes, I would still remain the same, but now I'm hitting 2 beats between every 8th note. So I now have 1 E and A. But the hits still remain the same. Let me move this down so that you guys can see it. But the hits still remain the same. So now we have 1 E and A, 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 1 E and A. So 1 and 2 and 1 E and A, 1 E and A, 1 E and A, 2 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 E and A. So those were going up from 8th notes to 16th notes to 32nd notes. Now let me explain how this works out literally, and I hope that answers your question. By the way, if I'm going too fast for anyone, I'm recording this video for everyone as an archive, so you can just go to ustream.tv/Walt Ribeiro, and that will have the video there. So let me take this and continue with this and go that if this is your quarter note, it's getting kind of annoying. Although I used to have that beat all the time. Yeah, so here, check this out. If this makes it easier, no one can see it, but I actually I'm trying to think how I can do this. Now I'm recording this video, so I don't want to take too much time and working on this, but like if I were to do something like this, like this might be better so that everyone can kind of see the chat as I go about doing it. Let me know if the chat's better or if you liked it better before with the question. But here's your quarter note. Okay, quarter note gets 1 beat. Okay. So let's put another beat here. Here's beat 1. Here's beat 2. Okay? The way it works is that if I were to make these an 8th note, I now have 1 and 2. Let's make these 16th notes. I now have 1 E and A 2. So before what we have was 1, 2. We now have, and then we had 1 and 2. Now we have 1 E and A 2. And so if I were to stretch that even further, and if I were to make them 16th notes, you'd put more notes in the middle of everything and make them 32nd notes. And then there's your 32nd notes. Oh, well, before I forgot to put the line. But if you had 2 lines here, there was your 16th note. Let's make these 32nd notes. And so now I have 1 E and A, 2 E and A, or whatever you wanted to do. But just don't confuse this 2. This 2 is really the and, the upbeat of the actual beat. Okay? This and is actually the upbeat. And so this quarter note is on the downbeat. Okay? So before what we had is 1 and 2 N, or let me do it slower, 1 and 2 N. We made them 8th notes, 1 and 2 N, changed them to 16th notes, 1 E and a 2 E and a, and now we made them 32nd notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a, 1 E and a 2 E and a, 1 E and a 2 E and a. Notice how on the 2, I'm hitting on the upbeat. Boom, and there's the and right there, which is really just the same duration as your 8th note. Okay? So let me save this archived video on understanding 16th notes and 32nd notes.